Okay, welcome everybody. This is Jay Kinder. I've got my good friend Al Stasic. Are you with us, everybody?
Hey, what's up, Jay?
Hey, what's up, my friend? So basically, before we get started, I'm pretty excited. It looks like we have a great turnout here on the webinar, and we're going to have quite a few here joining us. Looks like there are a few still coming in as we're speaking here. So while we kick this off, first let me just tell you real briefly our story, if you will. And most of you probably know me or probably know of me in one way or another. I've been in real estate now for, gosh, 20 years now. And I started in a little town of Lawton, Oklahoma, selling real estate for a company called Coldwell Banker. My dad owned the company. Stayed with them for a number of years until I was basically number 2 in the world for Coldwell Banker. I sold a little over 530 homes, I think my best year ever. And came to the point where I basically went independent. And at that point in my business, really couldn't see myself doing anything different, which is why this opportunity today is so exciting to be talking about. Over the next probably 10 years, this was around 2006, we started a coaching and consulting company. We founded the National Association of Expert Advisors, and we really helped real estate agents become the dominant agent in their marketplace. So we're probably most known for helping real estate agents grow and build a business or build a team, if you will. And that's been what we've been doing the last 10 years. We also own a brokerage in Dallas, Texas, and I say we, meaning my business partner Michael Reese and I. And we also have my office back in Lawton, Oklahoma. So about probably, I guess, I don't know, Al, it's probably been maybe not even a month or two ago, you came to me, wanted to talk to me about this little company called eXp Realty. Something that I started hearing about quite often, actually, to be honest. I heard about it first over a year ago, where an agent was really trying to tell me how great this company was, and I really didn't understand anything about the company, and I kind of ignored it, to be honest with you, and kind of wrote it off as, you know, just another company that's coming up, and this agent was pretty excited about it for whatever reason. And Al, who is one of our top clients and really one of my closest friends, came to me, and he basically said, "Hey man, I'm about to jump off a cliff here. I need you to take a look and see if there's something missing here or if I'm crazy." Because Al, also has his own company. He's an independent broker, and there's really not very many things when you own your own company that you can think of that would make you want to jump onto another, you know, franchise or another company of any kind, really. So I really wasn't sure how that conversation was going to go, but it was my son Riggs' 4th birthday. I'll never forget me pacing the yard back and forth while my wife was staring at me in the backyard, thinking I was crazy, you know, flailing my arms, trying to really, you know, get my head around what an unbelievable opportunity Al was presenting to me. And at the beginning of that conversation, Al, I would say that there was probably little to no chance that I would have been supportive, much less joining with you and you know, joining eXp Realty. But at the end of that conversation, there really, in good faith, there was nothing I could say except for that was the biggest opportunity that I've seen in my lifetime. So I'm pretty excited about this webinar and being able to introduce Al here to kind of go over his journey and really what the benefits are to the agents that come on board with eXp Realty here. So Al, I'm going to let you kick it off from here, and we'll get this thing started and share what you shared with me.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. I mean, you know, I really didn't think in a million years that we'd be, you know, partnering on something like this and going down this road. When I had that conversation with you, I was just really, truly coming from the heart, because I saw the opportunity, especially what it meant to, you know, the direction that we as an organization, as far as NAE has been going and trying to partner and deliver value really to as many agents as possible. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time away from your son's birthday that day and wearing out a patch of grass in your backyard, listening to me as I kind of laid this thing out. But so basically, you know, what we'd like to go is the differences, and we're going to lay out 4 distinct differences with this type of a model. First of all, it's not a franchised owned model. It's we're a model that's a cloud brokerage, and it's owned by the agents. Another way of kind of explaining it is a little company called, say, Netflix. They were a cloud company, and you know, they approached Blockbuster, which was not. They had bricks and mortar, and they had all these locations, thousands all in North America. And I mean, at the time, Blockbuster was a $6 billion company, Jay. They weren't just this little company. I mean, they were at the height of their strength. And then this little company called Netflix came into the picture. And they were like, you know, you don't need all that overhead and commercial space, inventory, and employees and all this equipment. Well, Jim Keyes, who was the owner and CEO of Blockbuster, he wasn't buying it. You know, he was skeptical. In fact, I think I found a quote by him, and the quote was, neither Redbox or Netflix are even on the radar terms in terms of competition. And I think we could agree there's probably a lot of brokers out there right now who are saying the same thing about EXP. And so, you know, the rest of the story, you know it. Blockbuster was offered to buy Netflix for about $50 million. They turned them down cold, and they literally made the biggest mistake of their $6 billion life. They said, no, thank you. And eventually Netflix was just forced to go out and do what they told them they were going to do. And five short years later, they bankrupted a $6 billion company that was at the height of their success. I mean, this is the David and Goliath stuff here, where they took down Goliath. By the way, Jay, I'm not sure if you noticed, but Netflix now has a market cap of something like $19 billion.
Right.
So Jimmy probably doesn't want to think about that. He's trying to figure out a way to erase that from his memory.
Maybe curly.
Exactly. So, I mean, you know, and we've seen this time and time again. iTunes comes out, and they take out the record companies. You know, Amazon comes out, Borders Books goes away. Uber, the taxi cab drivers are trying to deal with the Uber thing, and Lyft is coming. And, you know, you may have seen this the big announcement as well. Earlier this year, Macy's announced that them and JCPenney's and Macy's are closing 100 iconic stores nationwide. You know, they've been around forever, and they're just the stores are closing nationwide. The hotel industry, they're not getting out of this. You may have heard of Airbnb. They have over 700,000 hotel rooms, and they don't even own a hotel. I mean, that's something I'd want to sign up for, right? Right. No risk at all. They figured it out, and they've disrupted. So here we are. We're the first major cloud-based brokerage real estate company, EXP. So, and you have these companies over here on the left. And now I worked for RE/MAX. Jay, you worked for Coldwell Banker?
Right.
Right? I mean, they're in that list, all great companies. I loved it when I worked for, and I also worked for Century 21, the gold standard here. I don't know about you, but when you were there and coming up, you loved it there, right? I loved RE/MAX.
And yeah, I absolutely loved Coldwell Banker. It was a great company. They put on great events. They had a lot of things that were really great about them.
Yeah. And I thought the same as RE/MAX. I went to their annual events, and I mean, I was just a huge fan of the model. And they because of the model and some of the flexibility it offered, it helped me grow the company to when I went independent. But you have your companies over here on the left, and just think of them as like the Blockbusters, the bookstores, the travel agents, just saturated with overhead. And then we have over here a cloud-based counterpart that's putting pressure on these traditional brokerage models. So how do we do it? Well, we have 4 different disruptors. Because we're cloud-based, we're actually able to subsidize lead generation. And EXP agents get listings and buyers from their EXP sites that they get. They're not paying 40 and 50% referral fees. And we're going to explain how that works in a bit. But, you know, they literally have the tools to operate their business. And number 3, we're agent-owned. We're a publicly traded, over-the-counter stock, audited by the SEC every 90 days. We have open books. We're going to actually talk about the 6 different ways you can acquire stock in the company. And then finally, of course, there's the revenue sharing. The revenue sharing is really what brought me. I don't know about you, Jay. I love the first 3, but the 4th is really why I closed the brokerage down that I built from nothing and partnered with this great company. And I think, as you can see, EXP solved the problems that I kind of knew were in my business. So, you know, let's dive into the cloud-based company. We have a cloud campus. Jay, you were in it, right?
I was just in it just this afternoon, actually.
Did you? What did you go in there for?
Actually, I went into one of the trainings that were being held actually at the auditorium, and it's really one of the things that I'll be honest. When I first looked at EXP, I really didn't. Maybe I didn't understand it, or I was just writing it off as maybe not as big of a deal. But this online campus is literally, it's full of people. I walked into the technology room today. I went over to the tech campus and walked in there, and they helped me with a question that I had. The day before yesterday, I was in agent services asking a question about how to get something done, and they were literally people that are sitting in their chair somewhere, but it appears as if they're right in front of you in this virtual world. And you can ask them questions and solve problems just like you could if you walk down the hall in your real estate office today and get the answer to any question that you have, which is really revolutionary now that I've experienced it and used it. And I was sitting through a training that was going on today in the auditorium, and it was just incredible, the amount of value that they're adding to the agent, and doing it really at no cost to no overhead whatsoever, to be able to put on these types of courses and classes.
They nailed efficiency. That's what they
Right.
nailed with it. It's efficient. It's so efficient that it blows my mind. I was in there today, and it's funny that I didn't see you when I was in there, but I went into agent services to ask a question so that we can get signed up and make sure that we have a couple classes that we want to be doing for agents in there, and we could probably talk a little bit more of that later. But yeah, so I mean, the EXP World actually just got a new upgrade. There's a brand new auditorium. Let's see here if I have the campus map down there. You can up in the top there, you see the campus map. That's just basically where to navigate all around the campus. There's as Jay mentioned, there's an agent services, there's an auditorium for learning, there's a tech campus where there's always classes going on. You can learn anything from how to get Google reviews, Zillow reviews, SkySlope training. There's Commissions Inc. training. There's about 5 to 7 classes that are offered a day. And a lot of my friends that have been taking them, Jay, you said one of them, they're loving this classes. There's one called Millionaire Agent Mastery. They said it was one of the best classes. In fact, I'm taking it on Wednesday because I keep hearing raving reviews about it. So it's about 25 to 35 hours a week, fully live integrative training. It's not recorded stuff. This is actually an instructor up there live that can answer your question live. So it's really amazing. So you want to talk a little bit about lead generation?
Yeah. So as you know, Al, I think we, as agents that are always trying to grow our business, we're all spending money on lead generation, and we're all trying to figure out what tools are the best tools to be working with and efficient ways to lead generate. And I've always spent, on average, probably $1,500 a month at minimum in one lead generation tool or another. And in fact, one of the ones that I had for most of my career was Commissions Inc. site, which is definitely what I would say best in class, as well as Conversion. I've not used Conversion personally. I've heard it's absolutely phenomenal. And these are two tools that, generally as an agent, if you're at a company and you wanted to buy these tools, you would pay $1,500 a month plus whatever ad spend you might want to use for generating leads with pay-per-click or whatever the case may be. And you're going to be spending, on average about $20,000 or a little bit less than that per year just for having access to these tools. But at EXP, when I found out that you actually your tech package includes one of these with no $1,000 startup cost, $50 a month, I was blown away. I just couldn't. They were able to negotiate that deal.
Yeah, I still haven't figured it out either. But the bottom line is that I think that if we take away everything else, just the fact that this saved me about $20,000 a year, that in itself was a huge savings, huge value that I saw, and my agents they love Commissions Inc. And I heard the same thing about Conversion. I personally never used it, but I heard it's great. But I mean, we're talking about a lot of money. We're talking about a mortgage payment, or a payment on that lake house for some people,
Right.
Like it could make a definite. I mean, funding the vacation house that you've always wanted, just because you're not paying out the nose for a lead generation system, I mean, that's huge. That's life changing, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what do we got next? We talked about Commissions Inc. We talked about Conversion. It's included at the $50 a month fee. Yeah, success story. So there's this guy, Chris, came in, was a part-time agent for about 6 years prior to joining EXP. Gets the lead. He was part-time. He gets the lead generation from EXP his first year. He starts closing leads. I think he closed about 26 sales, which isn't bad, but I mean, this was the difference maker. He made enough money where he was able to hire an assistant and a buyer's agent. And because he had so much excess leads, right, he brought on a buyer's agent. He did $10 million the next year, and it netted him $250,000. So I'd say having the lead generation systems made a difference in his life, and I know that it's going to make a difference in my business and the bottom line. So
right.
Yeah.
Awesome. There's not an agent I've met that has been very successful without having one of these lead generation sites. No doubt about it.
Yep. So let's talk about stocks. I was with Remax 6 years. I didn't receive any stock awards, and so you can check this out. At EXP, on your first transaction, Jay, you're awarded shares of EXPI stock. So every EXP agent is a shareholder with this company. It's agent owned, and people ask me, "Hey, so how do you like being at EXP? I see that you joined EXP." And all I basically have been doing is sending them a webinar link. They watch this, and then if they join just because they put my name down as the reason that they found out about the company, I'm going to get more shares of stock. Right now, I've accumulated over 1,000 shares of stock, and just in the short period of time that I've been an agent here, you know, the values of, I believe, is at least doubled at this point. So as far as the value goes, now this isn't, you know, I'm not giving stock advice, and of course, you know, you need to do your own due diligence when it comes to, you know, whether you should invest or not. But these are stock gifts. In other words, by us putting an effort toward helping to grow the company, they're rewarding us with ownership. Now, I did this with RE/MAX. I don't know, have you ever brought anyone with Coldwell? When you were with Coldwell Banker, did anyone ever join Coldwell Banker when you were a part of that company?
Absolutely did. Absolutely. And I didn't get any. My dad, you know, my dad owned the company. He didn't give me any shares of stock in the company, and I didn't get anything from Coldwell Banker either.
You didn't get any stock?
No.
Come on.
I don't think my dad was playing this game.
Well, I got some gift cards for Starbucks. And, you know, I'm not making fun of that. I'm just telling you what factually happened when when I came over. I'm not saying I was that influential in Cleveland, where I'm from, but when I came over from the company I left, there were 3-4 other people that just, without me even really recruiting them or anything, like I wasn't trying to recruit anybody. They saw what I did, and they knew that it was better for them, and they came over to RE/MAX with me.
Right.
You know, at EXP, I would have been awarded over like $600 worth of stock for that same thing. Actually, now it'd be close to over $1,000 worth of stock because of where it's at right now. So, I mean, I just think that's pretty cool versus, you know, in other words, I think that if you're somebody who people keep an eye on because you do a decent amount of business, you're going to attract people, and they're going to want to know, like, well, I wonder why Jay did that. And I just think that the stock award's way better than a Starbucks card.
You know, it's funny, Al. The guy that first told me, and I don't even remember his name, but the guy that first told me about EXP was at an Ohio State Oklahoma game, which I can talk trash this year since we beat y'all. This was over, you know, the last year where y'all beat us.
I thought we were going to not bring that up. We agreed on this.
Right. Right. So, well, the guy was telling me about, you know, he was raving about the stock options, and he kept showing me on his phone what his stock was when he got it, and how it's going up, and you know, he was real excited about it. And obviously, you know, the stock has to vest over 3 years, which I think they basically borrowed that same philosophy from Keller Williams. Investing, you know, just need to stay with the company 3 years. I think that's, you know, it's pretty amazing because, you know, when you think about it in real estate, and, you know, been doing this 20 years, I've seen my dad doing it for 50 years, I guess, almost 40 years anyway. And, you know, you really don't have a backup plan. I mean, hopefully if you're selling real estate, you're buying some real estate as well, and you're making good investments. But there's really nothing nobody's really looking out for you in terms of helping you have a nest egg for when you do decide you want to retire. And this was just something that, you know, that really, especially with the company, that there's no doubt EXP is going to grow. You can question anything you want to question, but there's no doubt this company is going to grow, and it's going to grow fast. And I can't predict what the stock's going to do, but I can tell you this, that a company that's growing as fast as this company, you know, you can look at Redfin, and they're not even making money. This company is profitable and growing faster than Redfin. And you do the comparison evaluations, and I can tell you this, I'm real happy to be a stock owner in this company, and I think every agent that's a part of it sees the same thing that I do. I mean, you know, there's a great potential here for you to, you know, to create some wealth by having some ownership in the company that you're the one that's generating the revenue as an agent. Having some ownership in that opportunity seems to be a very logical thing to provide to agents, but no one's ever done it in the real estate industry. So it's very revolutionary, but it's also very exciting.
Yep. And I mean, you know, to your point, there's also another way of acquiring some more stock other than just getting gifted when you help grow the company or when you sell your first house, and that's the stock purchase program. It's totally optional, but I'm taking advantage of it. My agents are. You could set it up to use 5%, up to 5% of your commission check when you sell a house to purchase the stock at a 20% discount, and it's on a 30-day rolling average. And I've been, you know, buying it on every transaction that's coming through. There's no 3-year vesting on the purchase program. So after it's in your account, it's yours, just like, which is not like the gifted stock. And a lot of the people, you know, Jay, and I should say we know, I mean, we tend to hang with the top agents around the country. For that purpose, that we have an icon program, which basically attracts agents, the top agents, to EXP. They're well known in their town, maybe in their state or even in the country. How it works is EXP, there's a $16,000 cap, right? And so it's a competitive cap compared to some of the other major companies. Then you go to 100%. Once you're at 100%, you pay a flat fee of $250 per transaction. And when you do 20 deals after that, so that's 20 times 250, it's $5,000. On sale number 20, you get awarded part of your cap back. It's like $16,000 of what you paid into the cap back in stock. Now it's actually $12,000 at first, but they give you the additional rest of the other $4,000 just by coming to the stockholders meeting and the annual convention. And so you literally earn the entire amount of your cap back in stock. And so you really only paid EXP $5,000 if you qualify in not just cap, but you hit that icon agent status, which, I mean, most everyone that we know, definitely in our mastermind and in our other levels of coaching, they're going to be crushing that. I mean, blowing by that. Probably actually in a few months, right?
Right. Yeah, I think that the reason there's a tremendous amount of buzz around this opportunity is not just because of the revenue share, but the fact that all the things that we've already talked about. But you really aren't paying to be at this brokerage. You're actually creating ownership in the company. The more you sell, and it just creates a win-win for the agent, and especially for the mega agent teams, if you will, that are out there that do a lot of volume. And you really have an opportunity to do something special.
Yep. And so let's dig into the reason why I think we're on this call. And one of the biggest things and the biggest opportunity, for a lot of folks is this the EXP revenue sharing program. And I want to just start out by comparing revenue sharing to what a lot of people are mistaking this for, which is profit sharing, right? The largest company ever in North America, Keller Williams, 160,000 agents currently worldwide. They grew that with one of their biggest value propositions, which was profit sharing with their agents 7 levels deep, which we just simply copied their system. EXP was actually founded, Glenn Sanford. He's an ex-KW superstar. But instead of sharing profits, which, Jay and I, we've had numerous conversations about predictability, or should we say unpredictability at best, of profit in our business. That's what we've really focused on, profit, right? For years and years and trying to crack that code. We share revenue, and that does go 7 levels deep, and the first agent that joins EXP because of you, and then once they hit their $16,000 cap, they break that into bite-sized rewards for their agents or revenue sharing, and you end up getting $2,800 of that. So if you referred someone that sells, basically, I mean, it depends on the market, Jay. You're in Dallas, so we're talking about, what, 8 houses? Maybe 10? Right. Because what's your average sales price down there?
It's close to $300,000, yeah.
Yeah, so like ours is, $180,000. And so, it's a few more transactions for someone up here in Cleveland to cap than Dallas. But I mean, it's all relative. At the end of the day, it's about $80,000 is what that is in gross commissions. And there's really no limit, Jay. I mean, that's the cool part, is that, just over the short period of time that I've been with the company, I've referred, I think, 15 people, right, and that that are in process. I think 12 are onboarding of those right now. And you and I have talked about this. I am not a recruiter, right?
Right.
We've known this. I ended up with, I had 6 agents when I left Remax, which that was the number of agents I had in my team. Ended up, after my independent run of 4 years, with about 10. So this does not qualify me as a recruiter by any means. In fact, I kind of hate the word.
Right.
I've been literally fielding questions from agents. In fact, right before we hopped on this, me and you were talking, and I had 3 messages come through from agents that you and I both know from all different states too. And so it's really just, it's the value proposition is just that good. What was your famous line, Jay?
I don't know. I don't know that I have any famous lines.
Once you see it,
you can't unsee it. And we'll walk you through the calculator. We'll walk you through the calculator in a minute to show you. And it's funny, some very, very, very intelligent people that I have a lot of respect for, I had to show this to, because the only thing that I could come up with in looking at the opportunity here was that it must be broken. It must be not true. That was really the only thing I could come up with. But once I understood it, it was very clear how they're able to do this. Obviously, they're saving a ton of money, and the amount of cost savings there are as a brokerage that doesn't have all these levels which we may talk about here in a second some more. But it's quite an opportunity, and that's definitely why I'm sitting here today.
Absolutely. So basically, how this works is, 40. If you refer 40 agents over the term of your career, it would literally unlock all 7 levels of the revenue sharing program. And to your point, a lot of people are like, well, how do they even make any money? I mean, because if you do the math, Jay, the $2,800, add that to the 32. If you just get a calculator out and add every single amount of what they're willing to pay out in revenue share per agent, it comes to the full amount of the cap. They're literally willing to pay the entire full cap out. So most people that are, looking at business models and judging them, the first thing they're going to say is, well, how the hell do they even stay in business? I mean, here's why. It's a mathematical impossibility for everyone to have referred 40 agents at the same time. It just isn't going to happen. In fact, typically, your average EXP agent is typically referring around 3 agents, which means, even if it was at 5, they'd only be getting paid on the first 2 levels of revenue. So 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, on average, all that money stays with EXP. It's how they pay their expenses. It's how they make a profit. And as they become more profitable, it's good for the stock. Who owns the stock, Jay?
We do.
That's right.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
It really is brilliant.
Yep. So, this is just a real simple example of how this works. So let's just say, Jay, you're one who you refer 6 people, okay, over the next year or 2. Just 6 people came to you. I know that this isn't going to happen, but we're just going to play with easy to digest numbers to, let people know they came to this webinar to understand what the opportunity looks like, and we just want to start paying it with the most simple of terms so people can digest this, okay? So, Jay, you refer 6 people, and they end up capping. The people that I know, these are people that are going to be doing more than 8 to 10 homes a year typically. They're going to blow that number out of the water. But,
right.
Typically you're going to get about $2,800 per person, or about $1,680 outside your real estate commissions if you were to refer those 6 people. And plus, if you cap and you end up, becoming that icon agent, you get the money back in stock, and we're not even talking about the stock part. So let's just look at the 6 people that you brought in, Jay. And, again, a typical group of 6, 3 of them may refer 2 each, and then the other 3 maybe aren't going to do anything. And again, we're just using this as an example, right? But we're talking about a total of 6, not 6 who refer 6, but just a total of 6.
Right. You would agree that anyone who was only able to tell 6 agents that came on board over the course of a year, probably not focusing on it or trying very hard. That's what we would probably, I think, all agree to. But at $3,000 a month, I'm going to call that my C-Ray fund, because that's going to buy my C-Ray.
Your C-Ray?
My C-Ray.
The cruiser. Right.
And we're going to put the cruiser. That's going to be my cruiser fund. So, if you can in passing, tell someone about this webinar, no different than you're watching it here today, and tell someone about this opportunity. What happens to me? In fact, me and Braden were riding back from Little Sahara yesterday, and I was telling him about EXP, which he's 19. He's getting licensed right now. He knows nothing about EXP because I hadn't had the conversation with him. He's been in class for 2 weeks. And I'm trying to explain it to him, and he said, so you mean while I'm out selling houses, that if I just tell a few people about this opportunity, that I could be making money while I'm out working trying to sell houses, there's other people out here working, helping me make money? And I was like, yeah, that's basically it. He's like, that's pretty unbelievable. And I told him about a guy I sent the webinar to, and I said, I'm telling you, man, when people see this opportunity, they can't unsee it. And not long after that, the guy, the gentleman that I sent it to, which is a newer agent, but he's a go-getter. His name's Nick Messer, and he's in our brokerage, and he's coming on board with this DXP. And he called me. He was all excited. He couldn't wait. We have a meeting on Wednesday this week, and he couldn't wait. He wanted to talk to me. He knew he was watching me on Instagram. He saw that I was at Little Sahara, and he saw that I was packing up and coming back, so he wanted to talk about it. But people get really excited about it. So it's not like you really have to recruit anything. You just have to show somebody who is probably happy where you're at. You're probably happy in the brokerage you're at right now. I'm sure if you're on here, you're probably happy where you're at. But you can't not see an opportunity. And people who see an opportunity are usually the kind of people that take action. The people that take action are going to tell other people, And those people, you couldn't stop them from bringing more people into this opportunity. And that's where this thing starts to expound, really, compound and get bigger and bigger. But we can talk more about that here in a little bit when we get to the calculator.
No, right. I mean, and when people are bringing that very point up that you just said, that, hey, listen, I'm happy at the current company that I'm with. I mean, I was happy too. I have my own brokerage. What's there not to be happy about? I mean, but the question is this: what's going to change in your life by staying with the current situation over the next 3 years? And we always want to kind of try and paint like a 3-year. So let's just talk about this in just simple, different terms, other than in a real 3-year plan. Is that cool with you, Jay?
Yep.
So, I mean, here's the thing: as you grow into this business, you start selling houses. What happens? You start getting referrals, right? And it starts to become a lot easier to grow your business, because, I mean, I've been doing this for 18 years, and it's a heck of a lot easier to get, more past clients calling me to list their home now, and I get more referrals than I did when I first started 18 years ago. So, I mean, when you look at it from a 6-year plan, do you think that, what's the math on this? Over 3 years, that you'd be able to, it's about, what is that, less than 4 that's about 1 person per quarter. That's less than 1 person per quarter over the next 3 years. Do you think that's doable for most of the people that we're talking to, Jay?
I would, yes, I do believe so.
Okay, so this is what Rob Flick calls, 10 agents who get 10, right? We talked about this actually in the mastermind for a minute. And so if you were able over the next 3 years, I mean, let's forget 3 years, even 5 years, okay? You were to be able to, I mean, if you only were to be able to invite 10 people that would actually sign up, I think you would be you'd qualify as you would not qualify as a recruiter, that's for sure. It would be sufficient to say you suck as a recruiter if over 5 years you got 10 people. But let's just say you did, and those people sucked as bad as you, and they only got 10, you'd be looking at a residual income somewhere in the realm of over $350,000 with that many agents. Plus, that doesn't include all the EXPI stock that you're being gifted. And so I think that was the biggest thing that people have to understand, is that, break it into bite-sized pieces. No one has to go out and feel like they have to recruit anybody. I mean, we've had this conversation. Just in, I've been able to refer, 15 people just in the first month that I was here, and 12 of those people, and that's not making one recruiting call. That's not bothering one agent saying, hey, you need to just check this out. It's people that are contacting me and asking more about the model and wondering, why is it that, I think it was last week, 165 agents joined EXP, and people are just wanting to know why.
Right.
It's a legitimate reason why people want to know why they're coming, and it's the value proposition. These numbers, I think, have changed a little bit. Texas has over 1,000 agents. Florida over 300, California over 400. These are, I think, low numbers. In fact, I know they're low because we just hit 5,000 agents, and this slide right here is showing, just under 4,000. So I think I need to update my slides. Actually, yeah, it says this is as of July 5th. So this is an old slide. We just crossed over the 5,000 agent barrier. By the end of 2017, we'll be at 6,000 or more agents. I'm positive of it. This is just a little projection chart. Just kind of shows the growth going all the way back to 2009 when Glenn Sanford founded the company. In 2010 when Jason Gessing, he's our CEO. We had a chance to sit down with this leadership. Jay, you want to just touch on that a little bit? I think it's relevant.
Absolutely do. It's one thing to see this as an opportunity and not really know anything about EXP, and it's quite another if you're fortunate enough, for friends like Al Stasek and Brent Gove who graciously invite you to the annual convention that EXP has, and you get to meet. I think they literally scheduled dinner with the president, CEO, and the co-founder both at lunch, and a couple of the guys that were early in the company, and their take on where this thing is going. And I can just tell you this, man. I like opportunity, but I bought into the people, and the people in this organization. When we walked in the back of the room and they were doing their awards for the year, and I saw the names going across the stage with the Jeff and Marcy Willems and the Brent Gove and team, and Clayton Getz and many clients who we've coached over the years and helped build multi-million-dollar businesses. it was just unbelievable. The energy in the room, the the people, the love in the room, the opportunity that people were seeing and being a part of this, and truly, I think that's really what makes it special, is when you see what they've built, when you see how they're growing, and how many people they're adding to the corporate team on a daily basis to manage the growth. This is not an easy thing, to keep the wheels on the road, but they have done a phenomenal job. They have the right values and the right people. I think that it's just going to be a really fun experience to be a part of something this magical, kind of from as early on as we are in it.
Yep. I actually put a post up the other day talking about, we always talk about you bet on the jockey, not the horse.
Right.
I think I got that from you going to the Kentucky Derby, but I'm betting on the jockey and the horse. And
that's right.
Because both are powerful, and the leadership I can't say enough about. So the expansion, I mean, we're I think it's in like 43 states, maybe even 44 at this point. The next move is going to be going into, they're talking about, getting into Mexico. This thing's going, not just nationwide, but it's literally going to be going worldwide. And it's exciting to hear, about them going in and talking to Australia and leaders in Australia and Mexico. And we're already in Canada. We have a bunch of friends up in Canada who are already onboarding as we speak. So that's exciting, because I love my Canadian friends, right?
Yep.
Hey, we love our Canadian.
It's a nice guy.
Yes, sir. What's that?
Yeah, so they're really nice up there. We have some very close friends that we share up in Canada that are going to take this thing to a whole nother level.
Absolutely. Yep. So if you're a numbers person, a lot of the questions you have are about what the numbers are. So to get started, there is no $25,000 franchise fee or anything like that. It's $99. It's a one-time startup fee. They include 1,000 cards. They give you some really nice high-gloss folders just to get you started. Lead generation site, WordPress, Google site. And that $99 also includes your first monthly tech fee, which you can see right below that is $50 a month. That includes the cloud office, the campus, your ability to get in there and collaborate with agents all over the country. It also includes your conversion and commissions Inc. and your SkySlope. That is really the cloud transaction management system that I've been using in my own independent brokerage for the last 4 years. We loved it so much 4 years ago. We needed a place to do business in a cloud and not store a bunch of files. When you go with a brokerage, you got to store files for 5 years or 7 years, depending on your state. And I didn't want a bunch of boxes full of files, so I went and got SkySlope. We loved SkySlope, and when I found out it was included, that was more money that I saved as far as just expenses. There is a $420 per year university education fee. That's for all the classes that are in the cloud. And they don't charge that to you when you join. They take that out of your first transaction. Again, they really think of in terms of the agent and not wanting, nickel and dime and this and that. Obviously, it costs money to run all those classes. So that's what that educational fee is for. But they take it out of your first commission check that you get. As far as the just commissions and transaction fees and how that works, it's an 80-20 split until you cap. There's no royalty fees. Approximately $2.66 million in sales. It gets you to that $16,000 cap. Your team agents are going to pay a half a cap or $8,000 to EXP. And when you cap and you're awarded those EXPI shares, on every transaction, there's a $25 broker fee. Now this says $40 E&O. It's actually $35 in most states except California. California is the only state that it's actually $40 for E&O insurance, but it caps at $500 a year. So after 15 transactions, that goes away and drops off. And after you cap, whether you're the team leader or a member on a team or you're an individual agent, once you cap at whatever your cap is, that the cap 20% falls off, and it's just a simple $250 transaction fee for the next 20 transactions. And if you are a team leader and you're paying the full $16,000 cap, after the 20th transaction, you get the $16,000 in stock back. After that, the $250 drops off, and it goes to a $75 per transaction fee after that. This is just another success story. Another guy just like me and you, Jay. This guy owned an independent brokerage for 5 years. He made the move over to EXP with 17 agents. Ian Marshall out of Atlanta. What's up, awesome. Ian? He blew it up. Grew it to 100 agents in 2 years. He's making over 6 figures in revenue sharing, and after this third year, he had over 190 agents. And that's just an example. And I mean, so a lot of people, their biggest question they ask me is, you know, you were an independent agent, Al. You weren't paying anybody any fees. And it's because of these, you know, these people saw it. I saw it as a better opportunity for my agents. And the way I look at it is that if it's a better opportunity for my agents, then it was going to be a better opportunity for me overall. This Carrie out of Georgia, first year, she attracted 29 agents into her revenue share team, and then the second year totaled over 100 agents, because it just starts to snowball and grow. The agents aren't going to not tell other agents about it. It just starts to grow that way. The production with the technologies, she's doing 700 transactions a year over, you know, in the last 2 years, 90 million in closed volume in 2015, and in 2016, last year, she did 375 plus units. So I'd say she's cranking.
Yeah, she's busy.
Yep. So, I mean, this is kind of where we're going to conclude a little bit, and I want to pull open the calculator, and I want to get into, you know, just the nitty gritty, if you're okay, and showing the agents how they can use the calculator, show them where they can find it. You just go to join.exprealty.com. You go to the site, and there's going to be a spot up top for you to click on where it's going to say revenue share, and I think I have it. I'm just going to click off of this real quick and see if I can pull that up. And where is it? There it is. So just join.exprealty.com revenue share calculator. It's right here. You can see there's a brokerage comparison if you want to play around with that. There's a revenue share calculator, and there's a team revenue share calculator. Get in there and play around with it. But Jay, this is where we'll have a little bit of fun. So revenue share. What would you, again, using realistic, and I know you and I, we don't think on realistic terms. You know, you've been a super achiever to many, many leaders around this country, and I owe a lot of my success and the growth of my company to you, so I appreciate that, brother. You always make us think bigger. But for this example, and so that we can articulate this in an easily digestible way, what do you want to use on this example of the number of properties sold for the number of agents that you're going to bring into the revenue share tree, or that someone else would? What do we want to use as number of properties sold per year by an agent?
Let's, I mean, if the average agent only sells 6, which, you know, I'm of the opinion that we should move all those agents off to an island and blow that island up.
Right.
But, you know, that is the average, and there's 2 million agents in North America, so if that's the average, then I say we have to use the average maybe, or maybe slightly above that would be my suggestion, I guess.
All right, so let's just say 8. You cool with 8?
I think that's I think that no matter what happens and who tells who, that it's you know, pretty natural to expect that.
Yep.
You know, 8 homes a year is something that's very reasonable.
And
what's the nationwide average?
The nationwide average for property sold, like the average price? Well, in my market, it's 180. Yours at 300. I was thinking, you know, we could use 200 or 250.
Yeah.
You choose.
200. I mean, you know, I like to be as conservative as we can.
Okay, and let's use a 3%. It sounds like that's about, probably you can average it. Sometimes on the buy side it might go a little lower, but on the list side it may go a little higher. We'll just average that at 3 if you're good with that.
Yep.
So, what would you say that the number of people over, let's say, the next 5 years that you could personally, let's not say Jay Kinder, let's just say, you know, an agent that might be watching this webinar, what would you say a reasonable amount that agent would be able to personally introduce to EXP? Knowing what you know now, what would you say?
Are we saying, so over the course of 5 years, I would say maybe 15?
Okay. Yeah, that's a very realistic. 5, is that 5 a year over, I'm sorry, no, it's 3 a year over 5 years. So I mean that's not difficult. I think we can all agree on that, especially what you've seen you do in the last.
Right. You did that in your first 60 days. I realize how low that is, but
so let's just use that. And again, agents don't want to, you know, most agents do not want to be recruited, nor do they want to recruit or be known as that, right? So we're talking about introducing the idea to people. And so what would you say, of those 15, how many would those 15 introduce over 5 years, would you say? Let's just use a, you know, most people might.
What do you say, 5 maybe?
Okay, let's use 5. And then let's just fill these in, obviously, this isn't actually how it would work, but let's just say that as it goes down, less and less, those people only refer 3, and then those people on that level really, really suck, and they only refer 4, right?
Right.
But going back to the chart, you got to understand that at 15, you've only unlocked it. So when you bring 5 into your company, you unlock level 2. 10 unlocks 3, and 15 unlocks 4. So this is only going to pay out for those 4 levels. That means 5, 6, 7, they're not being paid in this example. You understand that, correct?
Right.
Okay. Hopefully everyone else listening to this understands that this is not the full payout. So just let me just ask you, Jay, what do you think the payout is going to be on an annual basis over, if you just focused real lightly on this, 3 per year over the next 5 years. I think pretty much anybody listening to this can do that. And as a result, those people did even less, and it went down only 4 levels. What's your guess at what you think the annual income that this person's going to be bringing in?
I suck at this game, but I would say that might be 180,000.
Okay. I don't even know what the number is. Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah. So that number is 601,000. It's over $500,000. And now, keep in mind, I want to go back to this. You can always get rich on a calculator, right? But understand that this is just straight up the math. We're talking about 8 sales. So what's the math on a $200,000 sale? 8 sales. That's about 1.6 million in volume. So the average agent, what we're saying is that the average agent of all of these agents averages about $1.6 million. Now the average, we were actually just in our mastermind. The average agent in that room was doing about $1.1 million a year with their team. And their team, it's sufficient to say that most people that had teams, the agents that were on their teams or in their brokerages, wouldn't really stick around too long if they were only doing 1.6 million, right? So this is an extremely conservative number is what we're trying to say.
Right.
And, I mean, that's the number that we'd be looking at.
Nationwide, the team, your average team member is doing about 2 deals, at average, on every team that we've ever helped build has been 2 deals per agent per month on average. So you're going to far surpass the number of 8 that we've put in here, no matter what, unless you just if you hang out with turkeys.
Right.
It would be hard to find that many people that you could convince to come over to EXP for an opportunity to do nothing, even in my mind. So these are super conservative. I think the reason we're trying to display it such a kind of a low number and looking at this opportunity is we want you to realize that, like, with a little bit of focus, what a big opportunity this is. And the reason why you see, some of the top names in the industry jumping ship from their current brokerage, their relationship with their brokerage or franchise or wherever they are today, or whatever they may be doing, there's just not a bigger opportunity than to come over to EXP and at least add this to your business plan. I mean, this is just, even if you're not going to do it full time, just at least invite 1 or 2 people a week. What could be the harm in that? What does the opportunity look like if you were to do that? And you just don't have that opportunity where you are today. And I think that's what's really making people get excited about this opportunity.
Yep, I agree. I mean, it's like a 401k for your real estate business, And I've been doing this, grinding it out. I think we've been doing it equally as long. I've been doing this 18 years, aren't you? Right around that? Didn't we get licensed?
You're right at I think it's 20 years. Yeah. So yeah, because Braden's 20 and he's about to be 20 and he's getting licensed this year, and I got licensed when I was 19. So he's got 19 years, 20 years. So pretty much the same amount of time. And you're right, man. The thing about real estate that no matter how successful I got, and this is something that I want you to listen twice as hard. If you don't see it by now, listen twice as hard, because you're missing something. And this is coming from 2 gentlemen who have busted their tail and sold a lot of real estate, and by many people's perspective would say, wow, they were successful. But I can tell you this, every day, every month, at the end of the month, whether I sold 30 homes or 40 homes or 50 homes, I had to get back up and I had to do it again the next month. And I had to get back up and do it again the next month. I had to get back up and do it again the next month. And there's just not an opportunity like this in real estate for you to create for you to do what you're already doing. Hey, nobody's saying stop selling real estate here. Just keep doing what you're doing and keep building your influence in your community and keep helping people buy and sell real estate. But while you're doing it, why don't you tell some other people about the opportunity and get compensated for that in a passive income revenue stream that you don't currently have. And if that makes sense to you, then you're going to probably have some questions, I'm sure, for us, which we're going to be happy to help you answer.
Yes, sir. Can we just do one more example, just for the?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, again, people may be intimidated with even that 15, but let's just say, it was 10 over the course of 5 years and 3, and then those people sucked too, and they only did about an average of 3. And we'll just keep the same numbers up top there. We're still looking at about $182,000 in passive income. I just don't think, I think that a lot of folks, if they've been in the business as long as you and I have, I mean, I can tell you that I do not have $182,000 a year coming in passive income, not passively. Now, we've both earned in excess of that numerous different times in our lives, and oftentimes we see that number go up and down. But you've looked into many, many top agents' businesses, including mine, and literally looked at P&Ls. And how many times have you seen agents that are doing $600,000, $700,000, $900,000, $1 million in top-end revenue, not even netting this? I mean,
no question. I see agents all the time that are, there's a point in your career when when you haven't started delegating a lot of things and you don't have a lot of expenses, and you're kind of maybe making as much as you'll ever make in your lifetime in real estate, and then you start building a team. And as you start to do that, it starts to get complex. And as you start to get burned out over 10 or 15 years, you're ready to step out of some of that, and you're ready to put someone else on some of these appointments. And the reality is that's a really challenging thing for you to do. And the number one thing I think it is difficult is honestly, ironically, is recruiting talent to your team for them to work on a 50-50 split or whatever the case may be. And for those of you who have teams out there, I know you know what I'm talking about, because this is your number one challenge every day. We deal with it in every coaching client that we've ever worked with. Is what is your value proposition that you're that you're using to bring people on to come work for you. And as you start to really wrestle with that, you start to become less profitable, or you become trapped in your business. And there's nothing that you're going to do that's going to dramatically change that unless you're open to looking at new opportunities. You can keep beating your head against the same wall, but expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. So this is a new way to look at it, and a new way to look at the model. It's a new revenue stream to consider having in your business. Whether you come join us at EXP or you try to figure it out for yourself, I think it's something that everyone should be strongly considering.
I couldn't agree more, Jay. I mean, and so let's wrap it up. And the thing to remember is this: you're not just a salesperson when you're in the real estate business. You're building a real estate company with EXP, with Jay Kinder, with me, working together with the person whoever invited you to this webinar, frankly. And so the question that you should ask yourself is, over the next few years of your career, however long that may be, it's a different amount for different people, but I mean, could you invite 25 agents? In the time I've been in this business, way more than 25 agents have approached me asking me about my business model or who I was with, and there's 2 million agents out there. So I mean, I feel, Jay, and this is going to go into a little bit of a moral talk, we have an obligation, we got a moral obligation we've talked about it, fiduciary with our sellers and buyers, to give them the best possible advice about buying or selling a home. I mean, that's our duty as a trusted advisor, as professionals, right?
Right.
I believe that we have that same obligation to ourselves, our families, our team, to put ourselves in the best possible position for success, and just to align our business with a model that's forward-thinking, not the same old from 1985. And this is just my belief. I mean, it may not be yours if you're listening to this. Jay, I know we share this. We call it our 100-0. It's our team's core values. It just means 100% accountability for our success and the success of our clients, and 0 excuses for not delivering on that value. And there's a ton of really great real estate companies out there. We know all the owners, I mean, they're good companies, and the odds are you probably love the company that you're at right now, and you should. But I just believe, Jay, there's a better way. We've been looking for that better way for years. I think that's why it was so clear to us when we did see it, And I believe that for most agents out there, and maybe not all, but most, that EXP is that better way. So I think that's about all I got. How about you, Jay?
Yeah, the one thing that I would like to just point out about the structure of this company and the efficiencies that they've gained and referring agents by giving back the really the entire cap that you pay in back to you and this opportunity of revenue sharing is that the structure of this company allows for way, and you kind of said it a minute ago, Al, but it really positions us to be there to help you. And there's not another organization. I mean, there's nothing that I'm more passionate about than helping other agents grow their business. There's just nothing that I wake up, eat and sleep, breathe, helping agents grow their business, and it's something I really am passionate about. Yeah, this is a great opportunity, with the revenue share, but at the same time, you have the opportunity to earn, a great amount of money selling real estate, and I love helping agents do that. This company really has made it where we're aligned with your success. Anything we can do to help you be successful is going to help you cap, and if you're part of our team in this structure, it just helps us to help you, and I think everyone in the company feels the same way. We all win together, and that's just a really unique business model. I've never really been a part of anything like that, but knowing that you have the support of everyone, like Al, myself, or whoever may have invited you to this webinar, is something special that you don't really get in the real estate industry. From the person that's working across the hall, you always kind of feel like their goal is to maybe not tell you everything they're doing that's working. And I just don't see that here in this culture that's been built here at EXP, which is really just a nice thing to be able to be a part of.
Amen. So if anybody has questions or you're interested in learning more, obviously you can go to just check out the site, play around on the calculator to the join.exprealty.com. If you've seen enough and you're ready to apply, there's an application process. Jay, you had to apply. I had to apply. They're not going to just let anybody. They want to obviously make sure that you're you haven't been reprimanded for multiple ethical violations and whatnot. I mean, there's a process that they take through. That's the other thing too. I love the fact that they have an application process, not just the old fog the mirror at the front, right? Like that's huge. I mean, I've joined 2 or 3 other brokerages in my past, and there really wasn't an application process. You sat down with the broker, as long as there was some kind of a mutual friendship that was struck, and some, they thought that you could make them a few bucks, you transfer the license and off you go. There's an actual application process with this. And I think that what we're going to do is we're going to send a link out, right, with the specific place where they can apply through our link, right, Ted? And yep. We'll put that on the tail end of this, and we'll put it up there for you to get, or we'll email it to everyone who watches. But man, thank you, Jay. I appreciate it. Never really would have thought that we'd find an opportunity like this and be able to get to work together. And I'm pumped about working with you. I'm pumped about when I first called you with it. I don't know if you of course you do remember it. The bottom line, what I kept saying to you was, this is the way we can help more agents, because that's right. Since I've known you, that's the only thing that's left your lips is I want to add value to as many agents as possible. And I couldn't think of a better way to help agents and layer over all the training and coaching that you've delivered to thousands and thousands of agents. I don't know anyone who's made people more successful, more money than you and Mike, than this model, and really right now, this time. So thank you. I appreciate your trust, and appreciate you opening your mind and being radically open-minded.
I appreciate you making sure I got to hear the message, and thank you everybody for joining us and spending the time here with us today. And if you're interested in putting all your, we want to put all our fires together and make one big fire. We've been saying that for a long time. This is our opportunity to do that. We want you to join us. So be on the lookout. We'll send you a link out that if you're ready to sign up, you can go ahead and start that process, and we'll be in touch with you as well. And looking forward to, as we always say, we'll either see you at the top
or from the top.
All right. Make it a great day.
Have a great day.